12 commission meeting schedule. I've got a couple of comments on that if you guys, anybody want to comment on it first?
You didn't publish that. You didn't publish it.
What's that?
We haven't seen it. We haven't seen it.
Sorry.
I went to the commission because we didn't have, it wasn't ready. Material. There
Okay.
were some extra,
Haven't seen it? Are there copies out there?
Hey, Mr. Chairman, basically what it is the proposed dates for 2011, and based on things that were mentioned by the CABs about planning their budgets for the future, we went ahead and took a shot at 2012 meeting dates and locations. In an effort to try to plan 2 years out so that we can plan better for.
I was going to propose adding 1 or 2 meetings to the schedule. For one thing, we're having some problems with committee meetings, and you know, if we have some, we could resolve the commission to a committee of the whole or a quasi committee of the whole, and do some committee functions at this meeting. If we have problems with committee meetings.
For this year's schedule, Mr. Chairman?
For next year.
2011. 2011.
So you're proposing to go from 7 to more?
Yes. And we could cover some of the committee business in that if we resolve to a committee as a whole, we could do as a commission and deal with some committee meetings too, if we have problems getting committee meetings resolved. But it's whatever you guys. Commissioner Rain?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, we did receive a letter from the director stating he would not support all the committee meetings that might be necessary in order to come up with the final product. So that might not, I mean, I don't know what other options, what there are.
Well, if you recall, we are in a kind of a budget crisis. We're looking at a $3.5 billion deficit for this next fiscal year, which means out of a $7 billion, I'm telling you that the governor looked at all the cabinet members in the face and said, plan for a 50% reduction in your general funds. There's no support at the governor's level to expand. So I guess, I mean, the commission's going to do what you're going to do, and I'll report back and try to get more information back from the governor's office, but there will be a financial effect on the department by adding more meetings. You clearly have up to 9, but I would recommend that this is not the fiscal climate to be adding to the fiscal burden.
We still got our stuff to do, business in. We would, Commissioner Cavan?
Excuse me, do we normally not meet in January?
Well,
So
ever since I've
February-
been here, this has been the schedule.
Okay,
We used to meet years ago in January.
yeah, I'm surprised there isn't a January meeting, but,
Right now, if you look at March is a CAB workshop. If you look at March, the following year, in 2012, it's left blank. I mean, the business of the commission obviously gets done in those 7 meetings, with 1 meeting to accommodate, creative things, if you will.
Yeah,
I was
January
thinking-
would be excuse me, Commissioner Cavan.
sorry, I was thinking maybe in terms of a commission meeting for legislative matters during those legislative years. January. We ended up last year having an emergency one. Maybe we should consider penciling one in. That was my one of my concerns about this particular schedule.
Some of our agenda's been pretty full. Any other commissioner, Hal?
So January would be a good time to have a meeting because of the legislature, right?
That's kind of what I was thinking. It might be a little early. Is January a little early, Darrell?
Yes. The legislature goes in the first Monday of February, so you'd probably, if you're looking at an extra meeting, probably April would be the better time to do that.
Well, can we approve this as today and then
We could
keep that in
modify
mind
it,
and modify
but
it as,
it messes up the county boards, because the county boards have to get a room and all that, but they could modify their schedule. It's just uncomfortable, but
well, I think we should at least say in April, kind of put everybody on notice that we may have a meeting.
we should
to-
set a date, though, if we're gonna approve it.
Can we,
Tentative date, cancel
question
later.
for the department, are we gonna be on the, online? I hear talk about being online for having, video conferencing in Reno and Las Vegas.
Yeah, what we're looking at is video conferencing, for a meeting as large as the commission meeting. What I think we're gonna be able to do is accommodate, subcommittee meetings, smaller gatherings, not a gathering of this magnitude.
Okay, just a question,
You
because
got-
that would make it a lot easier for everybody. We could have a half-day meeting or something if we could video conference it.
You wanna give us a date in April then?
Mr. Chairman?
Commissioner Capurro?
I have no idea whether it can be done or not, but obviously the state, in the legislative building, they have substantial video capability in several rooms. And that also applies to the Las Vegas office building. And so I'm just wondering whether it might be possible to perhaps set that up so that it's video conference from Las Vegas and Carson City, instead of trying to do it from the small confines. Again, legislature's in session, so it'd have to be a date when they didn't, but I would tell you that at that point in time, they're normally not meeting on Saturdays.
We've actually looked into some of that. I think Kelly has some.
Kelly?
Chairman Lent and members of the commission, Kelly Clark. We did a lot of research on the use of that facility and when it was available for use of teleconferencing, and they actually have an exclusion. They do not allow outside groups to use their video teleconferencing during the time from about October until the legislature completes. So I think unless there was a very special request made, that we would have a difficult time using their facility during the legislature.
What would they define as outside? This is the State Wildlife Commission.
They're not allowing anybody but legislative committees to actively use that system from October until the completion of the legislature.
Thank you. We could set up a Friday and Saturday and then just cancel Friday meeting or Saturday meeting if we wanted to, and the cabs would have a schedule. They'd meet on whatever agenda we had, and then it'd be a 1-day or a 2-day meeting.
I think we should probably put it on the calendar. We can
Yeah.
always cancel it. It's easier to cancel than it is to put it on. Sounds like it's easier to cancel than it is to put it on.
You're right. Does anyone have a calendar?
15th, 16th, 22nd, 23rd. That stuff is kind of midway between meetings.
15th, 16th is, 15th's Friday.
Friday, yeah.
That's tax day, of course.
Yeah, when am I gonna do my taxes?
Supposed to do it early.
But also, your May meeting is the 13th and 14th, so you can't go too much further into the month.
Those are the only dates I'd see that it's center.
This is
15th and
2012.
16th.
Well, I have the 11th, there's
11 was.
What do you- oh, sorry.
Yeah.
You threw this one over here.
What day, Jerry, did you say?
We're looking at April, either 15, 16, or 22 and 23 of 2011.
The March meeting is the 25th and 26th, which is the last week of March.
So we better go a little longer in April, the 22nd and 23rd, you think?
That is Easter's.
May is 13th and 14th.
Then you only have 2
Yeah,
weeks.
It's a toss-up.
Yeah.
Then you only have 2 weeks to the April meeting.
Normally we
3 weeks.
put it 6 weeks apart so we can compare support materials.
April 24th is Easter, so that'd be the Easter weekend, but I think we've met before that. 15th and 16th is probably,
For the legislative session, what's the center, Mr. Chairman?
what's that?
For the legislative session, Mr. Perro, what's the best time? Any of that, or?
As far as April is concerned, they're still not into the hitting each other yet, so you could probably work it up.
Late March and early May, so.
Yeah.
Just,
15.
just, no, I just mentioned you.
It's not a legal issue. Administrative issue. So we can either go the 15th and 16th or the 22 and 23.
15th.
It's not Easter week.
15, 16.
15.
Okay, 15 and 16 would not be the Easter weekend.
And that's 3 weeks after the March.
Right, so I wouldn't have, like, anything wouldn't have.
But it might just be we might just make a one-day meeting if it's legislative stuff.
We
and-
still
I
have a
would-
problem with getting support material to the
Right.
commission and the cabs.
We do that with any time when you
I
have
would-
two months in a row.
I would limit it to just legislative issues. I wouldn't.
Yes.
But we might want to make it, resolve it to a committee of the whole too.
No,
Meetings, which wouldn't require,
Well, that's, the March meeting kind of is that filler because we either have the CAB workshop or that one I think is in policy. It's not designated
Mr.
as
Chairman?
legislation.
Commissioner Rain.
The other option would be is to move that March meeting forward a week to give you a little more breathing room, because it is,
Yeah, it's a long way between February and March.
Ken has the conflict with the North American that weekend before the director does. Because we look at our all the dates that conflict.
which way is forward in your opinion?
I was thinking towards February.
If you choose
Move it
April,
backwards, meaning forwards.
if you choose April, you won't be able to do any regulatory action. You need 30 days notice. But if you confined it only to legislative matters, and that's what the,
Or committee or whatever, and so it'd make a non-regulatory meeting, which, it'd be a legislative.
Yeah, if we had it, confined it to legislative and then did committee, that'd be a.
What about want to make it into a
opportunity to do
committee?
Committees, and you could do that.
But it let us do some of our business. I mean, all of our business isn't regulatory.
Throw in a good appeal just for entertainment? Throw in a good appeal for entertainment?
No,
Gila Monsters?
no, Gila Monster.
Excuse
Do we
me,
need a motion on this?
you said that the weekend,
I think it was an action item.
the date of March 18th and 19th was bad, Suzanne?
Right, it's the week of the North American conference.
How about the 11th and 12th?
Oh, for the March meeting, they'd leave it 4 weeks separation, or no, 5 weeks.
Well, we wouldn't want to move the March meeting.
Yeah, might have to.
Oh, you mean move it so that you can
To
squeeze in
make it
April?
March 11th and 12th, and then slide the April one in,
April in.
the 15th and 16th.
That'd give good spacing.
Is that a problem with the director, Al?
I don't think there's a conflict there.
5 weeks.
What about, would they have time to do their surveys? Would the game biologists have time to do their surveys to do the season setting if we had it a week earlier? I'm just sensitive that I usually hear that complaint whenever I want when I want the meeting changed, so
I'm not sure
Well,
that,
That's February.
That's in May.
That's,
are we talking about March
we're talking
11th?
about March.
Yeah, we're talking about March.
Right, but March is when
Is-
season setting would occur.
No, March
No.
is the cab workshop.
cab workshops,
May,
May.
February
Order.
We
season,
do season setting in March.
February.
February.
February,
Okay.
Which year are we talking about now?
next year.
2011.
Last year, 11.
Well, the stuff you passed around was 2012.
Yeah, I only have one copy.
We have-
I don't know.
We're gonna make sure that you get copies.
Look at
of it.
12, we're talking about 11 and 12, so it'd be a day early.
It's gonna be more convenience to us, and we sort of, but we'll listen to you.
Rick Smith, Washoe Cab. It just seems like all this discussion, if it would make more sense that you just table this to August, you give the commission time, or the department time to look at all their schedule, you guys have time to look at your schedule, you have time to put it out to the cabs, which we never got to see this till today, and make the decisions for approving the meetings in August. Doesn't that seem to make the most sense?
Well, Rick, what we do is we set our schedule and then the cab set it after us, you know, really.
No, but this is an action item,
Yeah,
and action items are supposed to go out to the cabs before they're voted on.
unless they're internal.
Not only that, excuse me, but not only that, but this that I'm looking at is not only, this one's only 2012, but this also goes into 2013. And it's not listed on your agenda as 2013, because anything past July 1st goes into fiscal year 2013.
I have nothing.
This is 11 and 12 is what we're
This
gonna-
one that she just showed us lists all the 2012 dates, all the way through the end of the year of 2012.
Calendar year.
Yeah.
This
No.
one.
No,
We only, the reason why we brought it forth at this meeting too was for the cab budget, was to help with the location. Normally, we would do this.
But I go back to this, don't you think that there's enough time, this can be decided in August, or confirmed in August, so that everybody can work out all these issues?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Capero?
what I'd prefer to do, if anybody would indulge us, is to go ahead and look at setting what we want to do here, then send it out to the cab so they can come up in the August meeting. Otherwise, if we wait until bringing it up in the August meeting, then we put it off another month beyond that. So can I try a shot at this? Because it was properly on the agenda here, simply, I wasn't aware that it was going to be 2012 also, but I would suggest that on the
Are you making a
proposal,
motion now?
Should we wait on the
if you're,
legally? Oh, no, okay.
Are you gonna make a motion?
yes, I am,
Go
if
ahead.
you're prepared for it.
Yeah,
I
go
would
ahead.
propose to accept the suggested 2011 meeting schedule, with the exception that the March meeting would be held on March 11th and 12th, that there be an additional meeting on April 15th and 16th of 2011 at a place that would be, that would be confined to legislative and committee issues, not regulatory issues. And the rest of the schedule would remain the same.
As presented.
And then we're sending it back.
We'd
to
have to
the
send
cabs.
that out to, we would send out to the cab if it was successful on the vote.
Do we have second that? Second by Commissioner, we have a motion by Commissioner Capero on the 2011 as presented, to change the March date to March 11 and 12, and add an April meeting, April 15th and 16th, probably, and you'd have in Reno then, probably?
Or Carson City.
Reno
Probably Reno, though.
or Carson City. And the rest of the schedule would be as presented. And we have a second, a motion and a second. Does anyone have discussion on that?
This isn't the final, this is just, so this can go back to the.
Right.
Okay.
Yes,
Go
and it
back
only
up.
covers, my motion only covers 2011.
2011 is all. Okay, I'll call for the vote. All for the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you, and that'll go back out.